In today's video, I'm going to show you how I took a brand new Shopify dropshipping business from this in its first month, a negative $2,500 loss, which I'm sure many of you have experienced in your early days of dropshipping, to this month, February, where you can see in the first 21 days of this month, we have done $4,500 in profit with a very good 21% net margin. Now, just before we go any further, if you want to work directly one-on-one with me, whether you need help with Google Ads management, scaling, setting up things with your Shopify store, successfully launching meta ads, anything like that, then please go ahead and drop me a message on Instagram. I'll leave a link in the top of the description for that. I only ever work with a few people at once, so I can simply give them enough of my time and the attention they deserve. Anyway, like I said right at the beginning in this video, I'm going to pull up Triple Whale. As many of you know, if you've watched previous videos, I've had two businesses on Shopify for probably 6+ years now. I've done case studies on these businesses and we are looking at well over $10 million in sales, both of those businesses combined in the last 6 or 7 years. But towards the end of 2024, I decided, okay, let's add a third business to the mix. Something completely different, starting off with dropshipping again, because it is just such a good cash flow positive business model to start with, and you're not putting upfront costs in for inventory and things like that. But very quickly, and I'll describe that in this video, you can quickly go into a full-on fledged brand very quickly while still using the dropshipping model, because after all, dropshipping is simply a fulfillment method. Quite often the definition of dropshipping is confused and twisted and things like that. It is simply a method of fulfillment. Now, I know I started the video by saying January was the first month, but things really sort of started earlier on in December, but it wasn't a very big month. But still, you can see in December we were at $1,000 loss and at $4,500 in revenue. Nothing really major. But if we switch over to January, you can see things really started to pick up in terms of revenue, ad spend down here and things like that. So let me talk a bit about what is happening in January. Like I said, I'm sure this video is going to be incredibly relatable to many of you. If you're watching this, you're likely struggling with dropshipping. You're likely trying to find a winning product. Anything like that, you're basically struggling to get this business off the ground. And just like you can see the first month was a struggle, but trust me, this is realistic. It is typical. It is very rare that you'll make 20-30% margins in your first month. It's all about learning, gathering data, knowing what works and what doesn't. You might see a product and think it's instantly a winner, but that can quickly change after you spend a few $100s on Facebook or even Google Ads. So let's just look at some of the very important numbers for this first month, and then I'll essentially tell you everything I put into place between January and February, allowing me to go from a negative 21% margin to a 21% margin. So a big shift there, and we are still running today at a very nice profit. So let's look. $10,300 on ads, $12,500 revenue, 1.2 ROAS. Obviously, that's nowhere near good enough, hence the $2,500 loss. We were looking at a new customer acquisition cost of $50, which for this business is clearly unprofitable. Obviously, I'm not going to give away and show the business and the products and things like that, but essentially this is a business that has low ticket items that people purchase multiple of, if that makes any sense. So it is rare that people buy just one unit. Most orders are at least 2+ units. And if I just go over to Shopify here, I will blur out obviously the order numbers and things like this, but you can see on the items column, pretty much every single order here is at least 2 or more items. Some you're looking at 6, some you're looking at 3 or 4, and I'll lead onto that in a little bit, exactly how I encourage customers to purchase more than one item. Now, scrolling down to the ad spend, you can see pretty much 50-50 between Meta and Google, and that is something I did change in February, and you'll see that in just a minute as well. So 1.1% conversion rate, not awful, definitely could be better. I see many successful businesses running at a 1% conversion rate, and you've got to remember, for example, I run certain campaigns on Google that are known as demand gen campaigns, where I literally get 500-600 clicks a day for $20-30 of ad spend. They rarely convert, but it's all about getting people into your funnel. So those large number of visitors will harm the overall conversion rate of your store, but it is always something you want to look at and hopefully improve over time. And here are a few of the Shopify metrics so you can see 500 units sold, AOV of $55. So hopping over to February, just so you can have another look where we're currently at. We went from a 1.2 ROAS in January, doubling that to 2.5 in February. Again, negative 21% profit margins all the way up to a positive 21% margin. So almost $5,000 profit on 21k revenue. We are in a very, very good position here. So let's jump into it. I'm going to show you exactly what I've implemented. Essentially go from making a loss to making a profit in the space of a matter of a couple of weeks, really. So if we scroll down here, you can see in January we had a 50-50 split on the ad spend, but you can see we've massively pulled back on Google Ads here and pumped more spend into Meta. Now, they're both getting a very similar ROAS here. However, Facebook, we have clearly identified, is an easier platform to scale for this business. These products are quite visual. It relies often a lot on customers seeing, videos of the product, different angles of the product, whereas you can't always communicate that very well with Google Ads. Don't get me wrong, we've still got Google Shopping set up. We've still got brand search and things like that. We decided to pull back massively on Google, make it simpler, and just scale up very slowly. So next month in March, you might see this at around a $3,000 spend, for example, on Google. Whereas January, we went straight in with 5k spend and it clearly didn't work. If you perhaps want to see a month-by-month case study on this business, so you can watch it grow with me, drop a comment down below. That might be a very good idea. Anyway, you can see Meta, $7,500 spend compared to the $5,000 on the previous month. The store conversion rate is up. It was about 1.1% in January. We're looking at a 1.3% here. A nice solid improvement there. You can see here 367 orders but 850 units sold. Again, proving my point that most customers order at least 2 items. Now, this is something I've mentioned, I think, in my last 3 or 4 videos, and I simply do it just to prove a point that is very important. Now, like I said, most customers order from this business at least 2 items in their order. Now, I use a bundles app. These are the bundles I've got active. Obviously, I'm going to blur out the names, but you can essentially see here the percentage of customers that purchase an additional item because of the bundle. So this one, for example here, 72.7% of customers used the bundle, meaning 72% of customers ordered more than 1 item. That is a ridiculous take rate, and especially on these really popular products here that have had 12,000 page views, they are both sitting just below and just above a 50% take rate. So incredibly important. I've mentioned bundles in more details in the last 2 or 3 videos in my channel, but I just wanted to mention it again, that having bundles really does encourage people to order more than 1 unit. Now, next up, as I already showed, Meta Ads has been very crucial to the success of this business this month. Now, spend is clearly up, but I completely changed my strategy and approach with Meta Ads for this business. You can see here, this is how the account setup currently looks. Incredibly simple. We essentially have a retargeting campaign, which is a dynamic catalog campaign, only running at a very small daily budget. This will gradually increase as these gradually increase, but you can see we've got a Canadian campaign, a UK campaign, and this is the USA campaign. And one of the main changes was completely changing the optimization strategy for each of these campaigns. Now, I was using highest volume on Facebook. I've gone over and switched to cost caps, and they are doing incredibly well. I haven't changed the caps at all. I changed over the cost caps, set a £25 cost cap for each ad set, and you can see the ones that are spending, they're overperforming. £20 cost per purchase, 20, 15, 20, 8 here. Obviously it's only 1 purchase, but this is a great example. This ad set here, the cost cap is £25, so I'm telling Facebook I want to get no more than a £25 cost per purchase, but it really is overperforming and it is getting me a £15 cost per purchase, so £10 less than my target. What this is telling me is I can really scale this product here. We had some inventory issues. We had essentially a bit of a backlog of orders, so I've not been able to scale this as much as I'd like. We're almost caught up, so this really is ready to go. Hopefully next month will be even better. Now, the point here is, if Facebook or Meta ads aren't particularly working for you, just try a new strategy. Try out cost caps. Each account behaves differently. I'm not going to sit here and say you must use cost caps, because I have other accounts that, with my other businesses that don't use cost caps. So there's no harm in trying if you're not seeing very good results. You can have the cleanest ad account structure. You can have, cost caps. You can have highest volume. It really does boil down to the creatives you're giving Facebook. Just a bit of an insight. These are all broad targeting. This campaign we're looking at here is the USA. Completely broad. No age restrictions. No interest targeting. No lookalikes. Facebook simply uses the creative you give them, and then they decide who to show your ads to and who is most likely to convert from them. Now, in terms of the ad setup, I use the new flex strategy from Facebook. So I'll have, usually in each one, I don't follow this really strictly, but most of these ad sets, they'll have 3 images or 3 videos. They'll have 2 main pieces of copy, they'll have 2 main headlines, and then obviously you've got your landing page as well. The classic 3-2-2 method a lot of people use, but I don't follow this religiously. Some ad sets might have 2 videos, for example. But I wanted to show you this setup because it was a completely different story in January when we were running at a loss. We were running at highest volume bid strategy. Like I said, we weren't pumping in many creatives, whereas now I'm launching ad sets every sort of 3 or 4 days, testing a new angle or a new product or something along those lines. Now again, if we look at this here for this month, you can see we're running Canada and UK. I added these 2 countries in this month. I wasn't running to these countries in January. And the way you do this, very simple, is set up these countries within the Shopify Markets section. So you basically ensure UK customers are given their prices obviously in pounds. Canadian customers are getting their prices in Canadian dollars, and when they go through the checkout process, they have their own shipping methods, and that currency stays there based on the country a customer is in. Because if a British customer goes to a website and it's in dollars, that will seriously harm the conversion rate. And finally, something I only recently implemented with this business, and that is email marketing. We're looking at this month here, obviously again $21,000 in sales, 1,000 of which has come from email. In terms of percentage, 5% or so. Not amazing. My other businesses sit at about 15 to 20%. But as you get more and more people in your email flows and build your email list, this will definitely grow. And in 3 or 4 months' time, I reckon this will be between 10 and 15% of the overall revenue coming from email marketing. Again, I've helped students with this in the past as well, get everything sorted with their email marketing. So again, if that's something you need help with, please do message me. I'm sure you've got the idea from many of the videos on my channel. It's not about just focusing on one thing. Yes, you don't want to spread yourself too thin, but if you have all of these elements sort of nailed and not necessarily perfected, but making sure they're in place, like email marketing, like Google ads, like Meta ads, as a collective, it really builds a strong foundation for your business, will really help it grow, consistently over time and not be another one of those sort of pump and dump dropshipping stores. So those really are the main points, and I hope you found some of them useful. Perhaps, again, you can implement some of these. But I thought this was a very important video to show you an almost realistic beginning to a dropshipping business. Now, since uploading videos on YouTube, in this e-commerce space, I've not actually launched a brand new business on Shopify. So this was new for me, going from scratch again. As we speak right now, we're already starting to brand the packaging for the business. We're looking at branding the actual products themselves, adding unique touches to the packagings as well, such as QR codes that customers can scan, which will allow them to then leave a photo review of the product on our website. And as I mentioned at the start, if you need any sort of one-on-one help with anything we spoke about in this video, I'll leave a link to my Instagram down below. Just drop me a message. I do respond quickly to everyone. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.